Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Please excuse my delay. I was caught up in March Madness. Please forgive me. Um, have you got your tea? Remember, I'm having lemon ginger tea because it said that it supports healthy digestion. And I think we're going to need that tonight. We're going to need healthy digestion. Tonight's subject matter is discretion. Discretion. And like I said, it's a word that we know, but not necessarily a word that we apply to our daily living. And I have two quotes for you, too. One says, having 2 ears, 1 tongue, we should listen twice as much as we speak. Having 2 ears and 1 tongue, we should listen twice as much as we speak. And the second one is discretion is being able to raise your eyebrow instead of your voice. Both of these are unknown authors. Being able to raise your eyebrow instead of raising your voice. Let's look at the definition of discretion. One definition says recognizing and avoiding words, actions, and attitudes which would bring an undesirable consequence. Recognizing and avoiding words, actions, and attitudes which would bring an undesirable consequence. Another says discretion is the quality of behaving in a quiet and controlled way without drawing attention to yourself or giving away personal or private information. The quality of behaving in a quiet and controlled way without drawing attention to yourself or giving away personal or private information. Now, we can just digest that right there. Probably need a sip of your tea. Just right there. Discretion is not a word that we have not heard, but we haven't used in some time. We haven't applied it to our daily living in some time, in our daily interactions in some time. If we think it, we say it. And that's how it goes. Exercising discretion means calling upon many other character traits, like self-control, to avoid saying the first thing that pops into our heads. Self-control. Discretion comes from the Latin word discretio, meaning a separating. When we apply discretion to our daily lives, we are able to separate out those words, attitudes, and actions which would result in what? An undesirable consequence. Discretion should cause people to stop and consider what will happen if they take a certain step of action. Discretion also weighs the immediate consequences of certain of words, actions against their long-term outcomes. So, because I feel it, I'm going to say it. I'm going to torch the place with what I'm feeling right now. And I don't care if you're mad at me for a week thereafter. I don't care if you put me in timeout. I don't care that it costs me my job or the relationship. I feel it and I'm going to say it. And how is that working for you? How is that working for you? Though the immediate results may be humiliating or embarrassing, the short-term loss is small and brief when compared with the enduring consequences of wrong choices. When with the enduring consequences of wrong choices. Few people regret the things that they have not said or done. Many people regret the things that they have said and done. Successful discretion requires the application of three other character qualities. Three other character qualities. And they are, first, self-control. Stops impulsive words, actions, and attitude. Self-control stops impulsive words, actions, and attitudes. Second, creativity considers all the alternatives that are available. So if I say this, do you know I use my self-control is if what I am about to say, because I'm frustrated, I'm angry, if what I am about to say would hurt my feelings, if it was said to me, then I don't say it. Discretion, self-control. Think about it before that pink thing behind your teeth just runs amok. Think about it. Third, responsibility chooses the course of action that will produce the best results for everyone involved. Responsibility chooses the course of action that will produce the best results for everyone involved. Although discretion focuses on avoiding words, actions, and attitudes which are harmful, it is more than just saying no. It also seeks to determine the best choice when there are several options available. The best choice when there are several options available. Sometimes the wisest course of action is to say nothing at all and remove yourself from a situation, or just to be patient and wait for the right moment. If you are feeling in a state, if you are feeling frustrated, self-control says to step back and take a deep breath. We can't go back and forth with each other if there's only one party present, right? If there's only one party present, well, we can have dialogue with ourselves, but if there's one party present, we don't have an argument, because someone has to be the mature person to say, no, this is not what we're going to do. In our minds, we're going to say, no, this is not what we're going to do. And we're going to remove ourselves from the situation. And we will judge the atmosphere. We will test the temperature and be patient and wait for the right opportunity to continue the discussion. That brings the temperature down. That brings the temperature down. It makes it so that you don't have to say, I'm sorry, because you were angry and you said words and or actions that were harmful. Always remember that you cannot unring a bell. I don't care how often you say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. And that person says, okay, and I forgive you. But in the back of that person's mind, they remember that you didn't think of me. They remember that you chose to be vengeful and say hurtful things because you were angry. And you expect me to accept your apology. And you expect me to forgive your actions. So my question is, because this is something new, this is something that we haven't done, this is something that we haven't practiced in quite some time. My question to you, are you willing to say, starting today, I will choose my words carefully. I will choose my words carefully. I will practice good manners. Please and thank you go a long way. I will listen to criticisms, because none of us are perfect. But if I don't tell you, no, I don't want to tell you, if I don't share with you what gets under my skin, if I don't share with you the things that you've done and or said hurt me, then how do we navigate in a relationship if I can't share a criticism, because we're not perfect? Are you willing to say, I will turn down any invitation by the enemy to do wrong? Because it is the enemy. Because you're frustrated and you get on the phone with your girlfriends or your guy friends and you say they did this and they did that, but you're only telling one side of the story. And that person that's listening to one side of the story says, man, ain't no way in the devil I would put up with that. Girl, please. No, he didn't. And so now you all go back and forth. And you've invited them in. And you've invited them to get you riled up enough to say things and do things that you're going to have to apologize for later. So, what does the life book say? That was a lot in a short period of time. So have a little bit of your tea so you can wash that down, because we have a tendency to say, well, they did this or they did that, or he did this or she did that, but we're not trying to fix them. We're trying to fix you. You are trying to fix you. If you start to show signs that there is a change in you, then maybe it will prompt a change in them. So the change starts with you. The change starts with you. So you got a little bit of your tea. You got your Bibles. Mm-hmm. The life book says in Ephesians 4:29. Ephesians 4:29. And I am reading from the Amplified Translation. It says, do not let unwholesome, foul, profane, worthless, vulgar words ever come out of your mouth, but only such speech as is good for building up others according to the need and the occasion, so that it will be a blessing to those who hear you speak. So all of those ratchet words that you can think of to say, I think that's the word ratchet. It even sounds cruel, doesn't it? Ratchet. It says, do not let unwholesome, foul, profane, worthless, vulgar words ever come out of your mouth, but only such speech as is good for building up others according to the need and the occasion, so that it will be a blessing to those who hear you speak. Let's turn to Proverbs 19:11. Proverbs 19:11. Again from the Amplified Translation. It says, good sense and discretion makes a man slow to anger, and it is his honor and glory to overlook a transgression or an offense without seeking revenge and harboring resentment. Let's do that again. Did you hear what that said? This is way before us having an understanding of discretion. This is what the life book says. It says good sense and discretion makes a man slow to anger, and it is his honor and glory to overlook a transgression, or an offense without seeking revenge and harboring resentment. And the last scripture is Psalms 19:14, the Amplified Translation. And we all know this. When I get started, you're going to know what I'm going to say. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable and pleasing in your sight, O Lord, my firm, immovable rock and my redeemer. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable and pleasing in your sight, O Lord. So what I'm about to say needs to be acceptable to the Father first before I even start to think about you. Is it going to be acceptable before the Father? It says, O Lord, my firm, immovable rock and my redeemer. David was wanting his words and his thoughts of his heart to be acceptable to the Lord. David was. And see, when they went in to worship and they bought animals for sacrifice, there was a person there that would check the animal to make sure that it was blemish free before the Father. And it says, take that concept of being blemish free to heart. Our words should comfort. Our words should comfort and edify those who hear them. That's what our words are supposed to do. The Father taught us that the source of our words in Matthew 12:34, it says, for out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So what are you harboring in your heart that would make you not even consider that you've got to answer before the Father before you start to lash out? What would make you? I want to say thank you. I know that this was rough. We're talking about discretion. We want to talk about how it's going to better us. How are we presenting ourselves? We keep saying that we don't have good relationships. We keep saying that there are no good men. We keep saying, but our behavior sometimes is despicable. So, I want to say thank you for sitting with me tonight. I have more for you. Yes, I do. I have more for you next Saturday as we continue on with discretion. But starting today, will you say, I will choose my words carefully? See, it takes practice. It takes practice. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, but it takes practice. Starting today, will you say, I will practice good manners? Please and thank you. Starting today, will you be able to listen? Listen intently. Listen without talking over the person. Listen without interrupting the person. Listen to criticisms. Will you? Will you say, I will turn down any invitation by the enemy to do wrong? Because when I choose to take my frustrations outside of the person that I'm frustrated with, that's what we're talking about. That's that private and personal information that you are giving to someone that was not there to witness it. Will you say, I will? Thank you. Thank you ever so much for joining me. And I will see you back Saturday for You, me, and Tea with Lady D. Saturday. Yes. Thank you, and have an amazing evening. Good night.